In 1972, a young woman smiled from a soapbox. Her face was radiant, wholesome, pure. Marilyn Chambers, the Ivory Snow girl, held a baby in her arms. Her image gleamed on supermarket shelves, promising cleanliness, family, trust. But that smile hid something, a spark, a hunger to be more than a symbol. Marilyn Ann Taylor was born in 1952 in Providence, Rhode Island. A quiet girl in a working-class world, she grew up under New England's gray skies. Her childhood was ordinary. School plays, cheerleading, dreams of the stage. But Marilyn wasn't content to stay small. She wanted the world to know her name, not as a girl next door, but as something bolder, something unforgettable. As a teenager, she chased modeling gigs in New York. Her fresh face landed her ads, small roles, a taste of the spotlight. But it wasn't enough. The world of commercials felt like a cage, safe, predictable, suffocating. Marilyn craved something raw, something real. What does it mean to be seen, to be desired, not just admired? By 1971, Marilyn's face was everywhere. Ivory Snow, the soap that promised 99 and 44 100% pure, chose her as its star. Her image, blonde, beaming, maternal, sold purity to millions. Mothers trusted her, families believed in her. She was America's sweetheart, packaged in cardboard and sold for $1. But Marilyn wasn't satisfied. She'd tasted fame, but it was hollow. The soapbox smile wasn't her. She wanted to act, to create, to push boundaries. In New York, she auditioned for roles, knocking on doors that rarely opened. One day, a flyer caught her eye, a film called Behind the Green Door. A different kind of project, a different kind of stage. She walked into that audition with no illusions. The Mitchell brothers, directors with a vision, saw something in her. Not just beauty, but courage, a willingness to break the mold. Marilyn signed on, not fully knowing what lay ahead. But when Behind the Green Door hit theaters in 1972, the world noticed, and it gasped. What happens when purity becomes rebellion? When a nation's sweetheart steps into the shadows? The film was a sensation. Behind the Green Door wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural earthquake. Audiences flocked to theaters, not just in dark alleys but in mainstream cinemas. It was the dawn of porno chic, a moment when adult films slipped into the cultural spotlight. Marilyn, the Ivory Snow girl, was now something else entirely. Her body became a canvas, her choices a lightning rod. The backlash was swift. Procter & Gamble, makers of Ivory Snow, scrambled to pull her image from shelves. Newspapers screamed scandal. Families who once trusted her turned away, but others, curious, defiant, enthralled, couldn't look away. Marilyn wasn't just a star, she was a paradox, pure and provocative, wholesome and wild. The film grossed millions, a fortune in 1972. It played in cities across America, from San Francisco to New York. Marilyn's name became synonymous with a new kind of fame, one that thrived on controversy. She didn't just act in the film, she embodied its daring. Her performance was raw, unapologetic, a challenge to a society wrestling with its own desires. What does it mean to be free, to own your body, your story, your power? Marilyn was asking questions America wasn't ready to answer. Fame came, but so did judgment. Marilyn's transition wasn't just a career move, it was a cultural betrayal. To some, she'd tainted the American ideal. To others, she'd shattered it deliberately, exposing its hypocrisy. Talk shows invited her not to celebrate, but to dissect. "Why would you do this?" they asked. Her answer was simple. "I wanted to be free, but freedom has a cost." Friends distanced themselves. Families struggled to understand. The industry she'd entered wasn't kind to its stars. Marilyn worked tirelessly, starring in films like The Resurrection of Eve and Insatiable. Each role pushed her further from the girl on the soapbox. Each choice made her a target, yet she thrived in the chaos. She toured, performed live, embraced her notoriety. She wasn't just a performer, she was a pioneer. Adult films, once hidden in backrooms, were now discussed in magazines, debated in living rooms. Marilyn didn't just star in this era, she helped create it. Her face, once a symbol of purity, now challenged a nation to confront its contradictions. What does it mean to be judged, to be desired and despised in the same breath? By the 1980s, the porno chic era was fading. Moral panics rose and adult films retreated to the margins. Marilyn stepped back, seeking new paths. She tried mainstream acting, music, even politics, running for vice president on a fringe ticket in 2004. But the world couldn't forget the green door. Her past was her shadow, her legacy, her cage. She married, raised a daughter, lived quietly in California, but the spotlight never fully left. Documentaries like Inside Deep Throat in 2005 revisited her era, her impact. Marilyn became a symbol of a fleeting moment when America flirted with its own taboos. She wasn't just a star, she was a mirror, reflecting a nation's desires, its fears, its hypocrisy. In 2009, Marilyn Chambers was found lifeless in her home. She was 56, heart failure, the coroner said. But those who knew her story saw something else, a woman who'd lived boldly, unapologetically, in a world that demanded apologies. Marilyn Chambers didn't just make films, she made waves. She forced a nation to look at itself, its Puritan roots, its hidden hungers, its obsession with fame. Her journey from soapbox to scandal wasn't just a career, it was a question. What happens when a nation's pure image becomes its rebel? She paid a price for her choices, but she also carved a path. For women who wanted to own their stories, for artists who dared to defy, for anyone who refused to be just one thing. Her films still spark debates about freedom, morality, power. Her name still lingers, a whisper of an era that changed how we see ourselves. Marilyn Chambers wasn't just a star, she was a revolution. And maybe that's all we ever want, to be seen for who we are, even if the world can't look for too long.